Well, sitting next to me is President Ansel, a good friend, and also a former student, and someone who got his education. I won't say degree, it's an education, and degree is just a piece of paper, but education is far more important than the diploma. And Brandon came to us in the 1997, okay, and finished with a degree in business administration. And what impressed me most, even as a young student back then, was he was very entrepreneurial. And I remember having visited their apartment, and I noticed there were some vending machines there. And first, he was going around town and trying to get business going. So we'll hear from him soon on that. He's a self-starter and entrepreneur, and he has involved in starting business at a young age, to my knowledge. And currently, Brandon holds several titles. One is the President of NorthStar Capital Advisory Services, which is a private equity and capital services firm based in Jackson, Michigan, which is a place that he loves. He and his wife, Sarah, they've been married for 15 years, and they have 4 lovely children. And we are going to hear from him about that too. In addition to the NorthStar Capital Advisory Services, Brandon has been the founding partner in the several businesses, mostly local, and some are as far as northern part of Michigan, I believe. They're in the area of software development, hospitality, real estate, insurance, and venture capital industries. And we are very fortunate to have Brandon in the midst as our 4th webinar speaker. And in addition to the running and starting businesses, Brandon is a writer, and this is something I did not know before. Not that I'm surprised, but his latest book is titled "The Next Right Thing: Simple Principles, Extraordinary Results." And the second book is currently being edited. And so, without further ado, let's welcome the speaker. And I know that you'll be applauding with me. And in this room, again, we don't have too many people. And actually, after the first webinar, someone asked or suggested why can't we have some students here in the room to interact with the speaker. It was a great idea, but that's with the technology, the way we're trying to use, we might be picking up, noises that were not intended. And also the undergraduate students tend to be very busy, or if they're not in class, they want to do something else. But I noticed some students are actually signed up for the webinar. There are a handful of them from the undergraduate program, so I applaud them for taking time out of their busy schedule, and I applaud everyone for taking time out of the schedule to be part of this webinar. Well, my first question for Brandon is an easy one. You throw the software to him, and tell us a little bit about yourself, and also where are you at your career right now, Brandon?
Sure. Well, I'm 35 years old and a graduate of Spring Arbor University in 2001. I never left the community. After graduating, Sarah and I bought a little house right on M60 and lived there for 5 years, and then built a home in Spring Arbor. And about 6 months ago, we actually moved to Parma and bought a 175-year-old farm, and my wife homeschools our children, so that's been an exciting adventure of chickens and alpacas, and so yeah, a new passion, a new hobby. But I love business. I'm very entrepreneurial, and as you said, have been from a young age. You mentioned my vending machines. I literally took every penny that Sarah and I got as wedding gifts.
Sure.
And about 3 weeks later, we had 30 big plastic vending machines in our married housing dorm off of Parks Drive. So yeah, great memory.
Yeah, well, I had the joy of having both of you in my classes. For Sarah, she was in my core 100 class,
Right.
and then you were in my statistics class. In fact, one thing that I remember the class is you took the tools that we learned in class and writing a survey, and you implemented the survey in your father and uncle's business, right?
Yeah, yeah. My father and my uncle, both very hardworking, career-minded individuals, took a major risk in the late '90s and opened a pizza store in Wyandotte, Michigan, and took on a lot of personal debt to do it. And yeah, I was able to use some statistical analysis to make that place hum, and it ran very well. So
yeah. Well, let's talk about the businesses that you have started and have been running. And one statistic that I'm going to quote is you have 100% success.
yeah, I've been very blessed as far as that goes. The common theme of my businesses, my experiences, is that I've got partners in everything that I do. I'm generally a minority owner in everything, as I'm passionate about a lot of things. But I'm trying to every day affect each of those organizations and each of those partners in a positive way, and trying to push forward the goals and plans that we've laid for ourselves. You know, we're pretty meticulous at laying out goals for the year, and then just everybody picking up what they're best at and executing. As you and I have talked about, my number one belief is that you've got to be in business with good people whose skill sets complement yours. I'm only good at a couple things, but in business you need a wide range of capabilities, and so to partner up with people who can prop me up in areas that I'm not good at has been a major key to any success that I've enjoyed.
Well, it's one of the recipes or the ingredients, I guess, for success. And, a lot of people that go into businesses asking the question, what is it? What's in it for me? And at first, you have different philosophy, and what can I bring to the table?
Yeah.
And that has been a huge factor in all the successes that you've enjoyed.
It has. I wake up every day. My first belief is that I just don't want to waste a day. I want to attack every day and get the most out of it, and have the most impact that I can on my family and my partners and in my community. But yeah, ultimately I've got 6 or 7 different things that I've got to affect positively, and I just want to make sure that I'm constantly giving more to those partners or those companies than I'm taking, either in compensation or in resources. So it's generally speaking, I tell everybody, if you are giving more than you're getting, you're going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, let's talk about the kind of businesses that you've started and still running today. We mentioned different industries, but can you take a little time to share with us?
Sure. My core business kind of rotates around private equity and consulting, business consulting. I found that what works in a little coffee shop will work in a $12 million, elder care facility. There's general common sense principles that need to kind of be the bedrock of any business, and so to take that and also couple business acumen with capital, that's how new ideas get executed. And so a lot of the things that I've been a part of in the hospitality industry, for instance, or in real estate, are putting good minds together, good concepts together, good business plans together, and then matching them up with capital. And then my personal business model is to be a minority owner in that, and to participate with those management teams and to help them execute the business plan from a kind of financial leadership. But so with them centering around private equity, as you mentioned, software, hospitality, insurance, real estate, and I believe you could talk to any one of my partners and they would say that I bring a consistent approach, regardless of the industry, to what we're trying to do, and which is simply make goals, and execute on those goals, and provide great service to people.
Well, Brandon, I believe that you only have 24 hours a day, just like all of us. How do you prioritize? You have 7 businesses that you have to give your attention to, and well, given that not every business is demanding, say, a good chunk of your time every day, but well, you still have to ask the question, where am I going to put my priority today?
Absolutely.
So how do you come to the decision on a daily basis?
Sure. So you mentioned the book I wrote. It's called The Next Right Thing. That is what has driven me for the last 10 years. I literally wake up every morning and I've got information about what needs to get done, and at all the various levels, whether it's renewing a franchise agreement, or whether it's raising capital for a client, or whether it's getting a architect in a new business, kind of ready to start building a project. It's going to be, what's the next right thing that I've got to do to push each of those projects, to the finish line, to push them forward. And it's not difficult. It's inside of you. It's intuitive. We all know what we need to be doing every day. But it's eliminating the background noise and being able to intensely focus on one thing at a time, and tackling that and putting the right people or the right processes in place, and then going on to the next thing right away. I never try to do multiple things at once. That's just a recipe for failure. I try to intensely focus on one thing at a time, give it the best of me, and then move on to the next thing.
It's very good advice. And sometimes we have too many things on our plates.
Sure.
And well, I think it's consistent with Jim Collins' idea about the hedgehog concept too. Well, being so focused, and well, if you don't do something well, you might as well not do it.
Right.
And having a not to-do list is just as important as having a to-do list.
Yeah. I'm going to botch it, but I read a great quote recently by a famous basketball coach, and he said, if you don't have the time to do it right the first time, how are you going to find the time to do it over when you've got to fix it?
Yeah,
and
it's very true.
It's very, very true.
Yeah, out of the different businesses that you have started, is there one that you say that if I'm going to downsize, it might not be the right word to say,
Sure.
use, but well, I'm going to sell, say, 6 of the businesses, but just keep one. What would that be? Which business would that be, and why?
I'd say the best business that I've ever been a part of is probably the independent insurance distribution model. It's
tell us more about it.
Yeah, it's very it's consultative, and it generates a recurring revenue for you.
Sure.
My other businesses, you start the year at 0, and you've got to make your own bones, and you've got to go hunt, and you've got to find new clients and new projects, and you've got to open more stores, and so I'm very intrigued by the independent insurance distribution model right now, and I'm actually in the process of launching an investment fund that is going to be aggregating ownership and services of several of those in order to make them more efficient, and to enhance kind of the operational value, and then the enterprise value of those businesses. I'm right in the midst of doing that. So I'm terribly excited. It's going to be a $20 million investment vehicle, and going to focus on independent agencies, smaller ones in the state of Michigan.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. We've talked about you being an entrepreneur and a self-starter. Would you consider yourself a leader?
That's a very humbling thing to call yourself a leader. I certainly am in a position where I need to lead people, but simply serving them, helping them be successful, eliminating any barriers to their success is
leading by example.
It's the only way I know how to try to lead people. Is if people don't trust me that I've got the chops to help them be successful in their goals and dreams, I'm not going to add any value to their life.
Sure. When you look at leadership, do you have anybody that in mind that, oh yeah, so is a great leader, I'm going to try to be like that person?
Sure. In my life, I've been kind of blessed to have several incredible leaders mentor me. I would say the common characteristic is servant leadership. They fundamentally wake up every morning looking how to make their clients better, how to make their employees better, how to make their businesses better. And so I wouldn't say any one specific person. I would say the character traits of those people, and even many of you here in the business school have had a profound impact on my journey.
I was hoping that you would say something like that.
It's true. It's very true. Very
Wow.
true.
Wow, it's very humbling for us to look at our students, our graduates, and well, you have taken what we intended to teach you, to show you to heart, and well, it is not a surprise to us that what say 15 years ago when you were a student in the classroom that we know, wow, Brandon is going to do outstanding things, and yet what it's not because what he wants to become prideful, but well, he wants to serve, and the money is a byproduct, as many would say, and if you focus on money, well, the money may not come, but if you focus on serving your customers, serving people, your employees, your stakeholders, well, the resource would be coming to allow you to move to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fundamentally what I was taught here. You know, if you can be trusted with a little, you will be trusted with a lot. And you know, it's never about you. It's always about the team. It's always about what you're hoping to accomplish and what you're passionate about. And that was, you know, that was you guys. That was the business school at Spring Arbor University. It was a constant assessment of how do we feed into Brandon things that are going to help Brandon's life, not necessarily trying to get me to take a specific course of classes. I remember having some very kind of unique conversations with Gary Britton, for instance, in challenging the status quo of my way of thinking about certain things. And to this day, I mentally draw back to those conversations to the betterment of my clients and my partners.
Sure.
Yeah. I know college isn't for everybody, but it had an extremely positive impact on my life.
That's right.
I'm thankful.
Yeah. I want to then shift gear a little bit. I'm going to ask you for a definition. Almost like I did not get enough chance to test you when you were a student. But the question they have for you is how do you define success? And then using the same definition, do you think you are successful today?
Sure. That's a tough question, brother.
It is. Open-ended.
Yeah.
500 to 800 words.
Sure. You know, I define success in business probably different than I define success in my marriage or in my friendships, let's say. But
in parenting too.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It's quite a heavy thing having to guide little souls in this world and help them understand why they're here and what God made them to do. So, but you know, from a business aspect, we're talking about leadership today. Success for me comes in helping other people be successful. I love nothing more than when a partner tells me, "Gosh, you've introduced us to so many clients this year. It's been great. Thank you for that. I appreciate your contributions." That's a win for me. You know, money is a measuring stick. It's you know, if you're enjoying success and doing things you're passionate about, money tends to happen, and so it's obviously an important driver in any business. And I'm not afraid to talk about a profit-driven model. Everything I do is profit-driven. It's got to make financial sense, in my opinion, or it's probably not worth doing from a business setting. Now, from a social setting, absolutely. There's all kinds of things I'm passionate about. I'm spending a lot of time right now with the robotics program out at Stockbridge High School and trying to help them scale what they're doing in bringing leadership education to fourth graders up through high schoolers using robotics and using engineering principles. So I define success there with nothing to do with anything monetarily, but how many lives, how many young students can you help, set on a path towards their goals and dreams? So
Sure.
I guess it all comes back to helping other people be successful. That's how I define success.
Was it a part of your DNA?
It's always been that way.
That's been that way?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've always, I love people. I'm very social. I'm intrigued by people's stories. My wife and I spend all our free time having friends and family over and having a bunch of kids running around and things like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, over lunch I asked the question for how do you recharge yourself, and that's the answer they gave me. But well, you don't have to do anything extra. Like some people would say that every so often they would take a vacation, they'll go north, they'll do this or that to recharge, to refresh, recuperate. But being around people and having dinner together, enjoying each other's company seems to be your way of recharging.
Yeah, that's the ticket for me. Writing has been, in a sense, a recharging thing too. Just to have quiet moments alone to reflect on things that have been important to me. But ultimately, I love getting up every day. I wake up at 5 a.m. and just ready to attack the day and get stuff done and have fun doing it. And, it's cliche, but if you're doing something you're passionate about, it does not feel like work. You will work hard, you will put in a lot of time, but you'll be having fun. And I can honestly say I have a riot every day being a little entrepreneur here in Jackson, Michigan. It's a gift to be able to make a living doing what I'm passionate about, and I'm exceedingly thankful for that gift.
And going back to that definition of success, I think what you did you were very intentional in defining success in different areas, but it has to be holistic. Business, then you have to be successful. In your family, in marriage, in parenting, as a believer, you cannot have success in one area at the expense of another area.
Right.
And I can see that you have been able to juggle all these balls very well. And if you were to summarize your formula for success in a few words, I know that you talk about focusing on people and trying to be resourceful. And but if you were to put it down in several words, maybe this is something that you have already done on your book, which we're going to spend some time to talk about it. And
sure.
But might be as a detour to your book, and let's summarize what the formula of success in your own words.
In one word, the drive behind success for me has been awareness. And I mean awareness of opportunities,
Yes.
awareness of relationships, and awareness of business models, opportunities that might come from places that I didn't see them coming. You and I talked about how every connection could be a different type of connection. I meet someone one day at the coffee shop, and then the next day they're hiring me to consult with their business.
Absolutely.
And so being aware and being willing to kind of take the risk and to create something from those relationships and to invest the time to take them deeper. I'm completely shooting from the hip here, man, but I'm quite obsessed.
You did well.
I'm obsessed with awareness, and I just don't want to waste days. I don't want to miss opportunities. I don't want to prejudge something with my little box that I live in. I try to leave everything open to kind of the possibility of what could be. And I think I've gotten to take advantage of some opportunities that I would have missed if I didn't focus on having an open mind and being aware of those different things. I don't have it all figured out. And so knowing that and kind of having that kind of humility of knowing that way more people, way smarter than me, have hit this roadblock or that roadblock and trying to learn from those, it all goes back to awareness for me.
Yeah. Well, you talk about your book, and I didn't realize that you were writing a book, or publishing a book, and working on another one until about 6 months ago. How did all get started? And you alluded to the fact that it is a way for you to recharge too. So
Sure.
Walk us through this journey.
The journey started in February of last year in
Mhm.
Big Sky, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
I was skiing.
Yeah.
I was there for a week, and the first downhill run of the entire week, I bit it hard and broke my right hip
Oh no.
quite dramatically, and had one of those kind of life-changing experiences where everything wasn't as it was before. I suddenly couldn't move, and thought I'd lost the use of my leg, and it was quite dramatic, but also quite life-changing in that it forced me to sit down for 4 months and to lay in bed and to rehabilitate and to think. I had time to do nothing but think. And by the grace of God, I have incredible partners who propped me up and took care of me during that time and picked me up, things that I could not do. God bless you all. Thank you. I don't know if I've ever properly thanked everybody who propped me up during that time, but ultimately that was where the seeds of writing came from for me. I was immobilized, and so to be able to organize my thoughts and get them on paper, it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. And it's become a passion, there's no question.
Yeah. Now, without giving away your whole book, give a few pointers of your book and what that you try to convey in your book. The next right thing, and subtitle is what again the simple principles, extraordinary results.
Sure. So extraordinary is obviously an overly used word, but for me the results have been extraordinary. I am so blessed and have great business partners, and I've got a great family life and a great group of friends, and so to me it's very extraordinary to be living the life I had always kind of envisioned for myself, and to realize that I was able to create my future with the thoughts and the words and the actions that I took 15 years ago, that we all affect our own journey, and we are all responsible for exactly where we are. And so when you're conscious and cognizant of that, you're able to say, okay, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to go, what are the next right things I need to be doing to get there? And if you can kind of start that process with the end in mind, knowing exactly where you want to go and writing it down and putting it on paper, your actions will get you there. If you don't know where you want to go, how are you going to get there? And so most important for me, that's I've had several people call me who have read the book. I put my phone number in the book and just said, reach out. And I've had several people reach out, which has been neat. And that is what has resonated with a lot of people. That I'm 50 years old and I never sat down and wrote down my goals in life. Something as simple as that, which I encourage everybody to do. But that, for Sarah and I, that's had a big impact on our journey, is to be able to know where we want to go in our family life, in our business, and in our relationship. And when you have that goal and that plan, you take the actions. You know inside you what you need to be doing to get where you want to go, because you know where you want to go.
Yeah.
It's too easy to just let life happen. I see it all the time. It's the book is more a story about kind of taking control and being very, I'll say, passionate or being intentional about the things that you do with your very, very short time here on earth, man. Every day's a gift, as you and I talk about.
Sure.
So, does that answer your question? Does that give you an overview of what the book's about?
What are some other principles that you also talk about? Or maybe another way to ask that is for the.
So I get very specific in the book.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Every chapter has action items or things that I think people could do to positively impact their journey, or to be a better business person, or to be a better father, or a better husband.
Sure.
You can take those principles and put them in any aspect of your life. But I talk about being available. I've got a whole chapter on just being available. I find that that's the easiest thing in the world right now with cell phones and technology, but we don't always do it. And so, to use that technology for your benefit, where people can get a hold of you when they need you, and you're being proactive in cultivating your relationships, whether it's personal or client relationships, and that is a powerful thing that I don't believe enough people do.
Yeah.
So I talk about availability. I talk about communication. I mean, I see that so much in my businesses. Any issues that we have, 90% of the time they boil down to communication problems, communication nuances, where I've got this bubble of my brain, and I'm interpreting a situation one way. Well, you are interpreting the situation a completely different way, and we're both right, because it's real for us. And so to be able to communicate that and to get past those things has been very, very important as I keep healthy partnerships going, and healthy relationships. So I delve pretty deep into that. I shouldn't say that. I guess I don't delve deep into anything in the book, but I get to the heart of what I believe about those things.
Yeah.
I talk about the importance of education. I talk about the importance of having an ownership mentality. It's so critical, and I just don't see it enough. But when you see it, it's an absolute ray of sunshine. When you go to a restaurant and someone treats you as if they own the restaurant, it blows you away, and you wanna leave that kid a $40 tip.
Sure.
Because he was extraordinary.
Or offer the person a job. Can you come work for me?
Right, absolutely.
You probably have done that before.
Absolutely. That people, and unfortunately, it doesn't happen enough.
No.
People are missing opportunities to be extraordinary, no matter where you're at in life and what you've been trusted with. Do it with incredible excellence, and people will flock to that. I mean, everyone's dying to hire people who go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And but that comes down to being aware that you have that power. If you're not aware of that power, how are you going to use that power to your good? I have told people that. I've told, I've been at restaurants, or I've been at places where that was just the most incredible service experience I've had. Do you know how good you are at what you do? You can do anything in life with this type of skill set. And usually people know, oh, it's just who I am. Well, that's great. That's a gift if you were born that way. But that also can be learned. Anybody can do that. It's a choice, right? Yeah. We all have that choice.
Well, then, Brandon, I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then we'll try to open up to see if we have any participants wanting this one. Okay. Let's see if I can find that. I don't see it on my screen. Maybe that Ryan can help me. But the question is what Jackson, has been hit hard during the last 5-6 years because of economy, and yet what the youth continue to invest your time and energy into the founding new businesses. What's your advice on starting businesses during good times of the business cycle and bad times? Is it easier I suppose it's easy to start when we are all doing the good times.
Sure.
But it also takes an entrepreneurial spirit to say that I see the future is bright. I'm going to make the investment today.
Sure. I would say the number one thing you can do foundationally is find something that you're absolutely passionate about, because there will be choices you'll have to make in chasing your dream. There will be times when you've got to make huge sacrifices. And if you're not passionate and it doesn't drive every fiber of your being, then you're going to struggle. And it's going to take a toll on your relationships and on your family and potentially on your finances. But once you've identified what you're passionate about, I would suggest you seek help. I would suggest you seek others who have went before you and have done things similar, or who you respect and have had business success, and be open to their constructive feedback and criticism. because as one of my mentors says, the only thing you know for sure in life is that you're wrong. So nothing ends up like you think it's going to, and it's,
So have you eaten a lot of humble pies?
oh, every day, man.
Every day?
Every day.
Even as a boss. Okay, well, I eat humble pies daily, and it's part of my menu.
Yeah, if you're not making mistakes, you're not innovating. You're not trying hard enough.
Okay.
And that just goes with the territory.
Sure.
Yeah, so many legacy businesses have died because they failed to continue to innovate, and they failed. I've got another business mentor who all he talks about is reinventing. Every 2 to 3 years, you gotta be reinventing. You gotta be, challenging the status quo and figuring out what's going to take you into the next 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
And that drives my way of thinking too, very much. So.
Do you ever take business problems home with you, or you say, "Well, I'm going to deal with it tomorrow"?
I'd be lying to you if I said I don't take it home. I'm too intimately involved in too many things. My wife and I talk a lot about this. The entrepreneur's life is not for everyone.
No.
It's an incredible life, but you've got to have buy-in from your family. Your spouse has got to understand that you are on 12 to 14 hours a day. You're especially now with technology. And I deal with that a lot in the book. I mean, the next right thing sometimes is to stand up from the dinner table and to take a call. And a lot of times the next right thing is to turn the phone off and to watch your daughter's piano recital.
Sure.
But you gotta kind of analyze the big picture and know what your goals are and know what you've decided to do as a family and make those decisions accordingly.
Good. I'm going to take a question from the audience. The question is how does your faith impact the business decisions or ventures that you make? And I also made a similar question, that is how do you integrate biblical principles and values in your management practice? So I'll give it to take it from there.
Sure, that's a great question, and and I say this with a humble spirit because it is often difficult to integrate the Christian faith into your business decisions. Not that it's difficult from a sense of it's obviously the right thing to do, but it's often difficult because you're presented with a lot of opportunities to do things that may make a profit, but aren't necessarily in line with what you believe in your core. And my only advice is that I believe we all have the spark of God inside of us, and that our soul, things resonate well with our soul, and we have peace about them, or we don't. And so I just try to make sure every business decision I make, I've got peace with, and that it resonates deeply in my soul. And when it doesn't, I just run from it. I just avoid it. That's at a core level, that's how my faith affects my business decisions. And I have made some weird decisions on the surface simply because what was happening or what was going on just did not feel right with my soul. And when that fails me, I go to my wife and I say, how do you feel about this? What do you think I'm missing here? And she's proven a great partner in those conversations. Yeah.
That's great. Well, we are down to the last maybe 10 minutes or so. If we don't have to stay the whole time, obviously. But if anybody from the audience would like to send in a question, we'll try to answer that. I'll raise the question on your behalf. Many of you would not know, but we have another professor who just walked in, and that's Dr. Brandon Lewis, and he was on the faculty when Brandon was an undergraduate student, and I think he had a big influence on Brandon, especially on his understanding of the financial world. And I'm not going to put him on the spot, but maybe Brandon can talk a little bit about your love for finance. I think that is something that you are spending a lot of time doing, and even with your businesses, you cannot make a good financial decision without the understanding of, say, the financial statements
Sure.
and what works, cash flow, that kind of thing.
Yeah, in every one of my partnerships and in every one of my businesses, I've got some type of leadership responsibility, but also got some type of financial responsibility. I operationally am just not very strong. It's not what I'm good at, but I am passionate about the finances and as
You can see the big picture.
yeah, and I like projecting out in saying if we make these decisions today, here's what it looks like for tomorrow from a financial perspective. And then it's on the operational teams to figure out if we can execute on those plans. But that was a gift from God too. At an early age, I was just while other people were reading whatever Hardy Boys books, I was reading Peter Lynch books.
Oh, the Harvard Business Reviews. We have a follow-up question from our audience. But what experiences during your SAU years had the biggest impact on the way you do business?
Sure, great question. The most important thing I learned here at Spring Arbor was the value of a relationship, far more than what it could do for me, but what I can do for you. And everything in life is about giving, and I felt that from every single professor here. I felt like, you, Randy, Gary, you guys were genuinely interested in how to make me a better businessman and how to give me the tools that I would need to be successful. And those relationships have lived on. I mean, you guys have a lot of students. Every one of you gave me your phone number, said if we can help you in the future, let us know. We want to see you be successful. And so the relational attributes of what I learned here, because when I showed up here, I didn't necessarily even want to go to college. This was the only school I applied to, and I really didn't know anything about Spring Arbor. I wasn't a Free Methodist. I didn't play sports here. Nobody recruited me here. Nobody gave me, but
There was a school in South Central Michigan.
Right, it was the most random thing. I had a cousin who went here actually,
Okay.
and so when my parents told me I had to apply to a school, I said, okay, I'll try this. And so I came in as someone who didn't get that, who was very, it's almost embarrassing to say, but I was a very individually motivated person, probably looking out for myself more than I should have. And to be mentored by a bunch of people who are looking out for their students every day was really impactful. And to see that has lived on for 15 years, or as long as it's been since I've been here, to where I'm still in contact with you guys, and you're still asking, how do we help you? How do we help you? It's meaningful, and I want to live my life that way. I want to have those conversations. I want to figure out how I can help them. So, thank you for that question.
Oh, you're very welcome. And, do you have anybody whom you are mentoring today?
Oh yeah, I'm mentoring a lot of people right now. Yeah, I'd say from a business standpoint, some of the companies I've invested in, I've got a mentor relationship with the founders or the CEOs. Right now, I'm very interested in this robotics training that's going on at Stockbridge High School that a great friend of mine named Josh Nichols is spearheading over there. And so yeah, that's where I'm at in my life. I want to do more of that.
Sure.
And then my kids.
Of course.
I'm their hero, I can tell.
Yeah. You think they might come to Spring Arbor? It's a loaded question.
We will see, brother. We will see.
Yeah, we're going to do something that we don't normally do before. We don't normally do. Yeah. That's what since we have Randy here, and also we have another student from the business school. You guys care to ask any question? We get about 7 minutes.
Yeah, Brandon. I remember you being in the classroom asking more questions than any other student. A little bit like Jordan, actually. Actually, you were a lot like Jordan, except you were more of an entrepreneur. You had this entrepreneurial spirit because you were operating businesses at a young age. So, what do you know now that you've learned along the way that was a total surprise to you from those days when you were a student? What do you know today that is totally, maybe not shocking, but just not what you thought it was going to be?
Good question, Randy.
15 years ago, I had a measure of fear that I was always going to have to be hustling, that I was always going to be to try to kind of make my own way. I didn't have an understanding of partnership back then, and I have found partnership to be the most critical, positive thing that's happened to my life. To be able to have great people who I can lean on in good times and bad, who, their skills complement my skills, and that we can win together and just do life together. It's so much better than kind of the one-man show, the mile wide and inch deep type of situation. So yeah, if I'd have known 15 years ago that were the right path, I'd have not waited this long to seek out the great partnerships that I have. I think I could have multiplied the different things that I've been involved with had I grabbed onto that. Because people are open, people are interested, and people want to be in business with people who are willing to innovate and take risks. And you just got to ask.
Okay, one other question. Jordan, did you have a question? If you were to give advice to the faculty in the Gainey School of Business, if you were to give some advice to all of us, and obviously we do our best, but we can always improve. We've never arrived. You never arrive in life.
Sure.
If you believe in the Kaizen principle, you're always improving, continuous improvement in life. In your products, your services, and your business, you can never arrive. And so, as a humble faculty, I know we have a humble faculty. I'm asking you for your advice in terms of integrating faith and learning. And the reason I'm asking this is because there are different ways of integrating faith and learning. One is to be very direct and use a lot of Bible verses in class and focus on, not necessarily the total integration of the two, but sort of separating them in a way where you do eventually bring them together, but you sort of really focus on Bible verses and things like that. Or just being who you are and integrating it that way in your life, displaying your life before students so they know who you are deep down inside, and bringing some, how do I say this? Bringing that vulnerable part of yourself to the students so they can understand how you feel about Christ in a different way. What do you think is the best approach? Or is there a good approach, a better approach, do you think?
From my perspective, I would have been fine if we never had a Bible verse in class. I mean, I saw Jesus inside you people. I knew what you were about from my interactions with you. I mean, it's just very clear. And we're obviously, we're just little people, who all make mistakes and have our own issues and stuff, but it was very clear at your core why you guys were here and what was important to you, and why Spring Arbor and not, Yale, or why Spring Arbor and not Princeton. I mean, there's a reason, and there's obviously a world-class faculty here, without a doubt a world-class faculty. You guys could teach anywhere, but you teach here for a reason. And so not to say that Bible verses in class aren't fine, but not necessary, not at all, in my opinion.
Brandon, the check is in the mail. Well, thanks for the remarks.
It's from my heart. I would not have stuck around this community if it wasn't from
Mm-hmm.
my heart. There's a lot of good here.
Well, we run out of time, but there's one more question, and I think maybe somewhere you touch on that, and you talk about mistake, and can you put your finger on one mistake that you made, and what do you learn from it? It's from our audience.
Sure. I still own a roly-poly sandwich shop in Jackson, and
one of your first businesses.
One of my first businesses, and at that time, I could have invested in anything. It was wide open. I had pizza stores back then, and I had the coffee shops and different things, and I didn't analyze that company deep enough. And there was hundreds of roly-polies when I got into the system. There was probably 20 in Michigan, and there's only 2 now.
Yeah.
You know, by the grace of God and with the support of some incredible customers, we've been able to survive and make our own way. But you know, the difference between a Big B Coffee, which has been an incredibly strong franchise system, and a roly-poly sandwiches, which has not seen the growth in their system. Looking back, I should have been able to see that. I should have been able to see that they didn't have the chops to help me be successful. So that's been a learning experience.
Good. Good. Well, we're down to the last, what maybe the 50, 60 seconds, and well, how about the rewinding the whole hour? We talk about the simple things. We talk about basically the formula of success, and you boil down to the being aware of opportunity, being aware of relationships.
Yeah.
They're important. A customer who comes here to buy a cup of coffee from your shop, or that may become a partner, may become someone whom you need to turn to, and we need to be aware, and we need to be willing to commit ourselves daily, being disciplined, and you get up early, and you devote your time to the important things, and you also try to strike a balance, and you don't want to be a lousy father or husband while making lots of money in the business world, or vice versa. And so a lot of lessons that we can draw from this hour of webinar, and if we well, as we part, if you have one final word to leave us, what would that be?
Love well.
Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for being a great audience, and we are going to have our next webinar soon. We have not lined up in a speaker, but looks like the way we have been able to get the word out seems to work, and you're a great audience, and I want you to join me to thank President Ansel for spending the last hour with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.